If an opinion has to adhere to a standard, does it cease to be an opinion? I'm thinking a lot about professional video game critics, especially the ones at IGN and GameSpot. And this is since the release and reception of SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. So, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated is a remaster of the PlayStation 2 classic SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. I'm not going to keep saying that, I'm just going to refer to it as the SpongeBob game. A game that is pretty universally beloved and considered to be one of the best licensed tie-in video games ever made, simply because you don't have to be a SpongeBob SquarePants fan to enjoy this as a collectathon platformer. Its quality and its attention to detail is up there with the best of platforming classics. And I can confirm, since playing Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, that it does still hold up, that it is not just down to nostalgia. Before the release of the remastered edition, I hadn't played this game since I was about 8 years old, so in many ways it was like playing a brand new game, and being as I'm not as into SpongeBob as I was when I was 8 years old, I was playing this more as a video game than I was a SpongeBob SquarePants title, although I was quite surprised by how much of it I did remember. Now the reason I bring this up is because this remaster of this cult classic video game, known for its incredible quality, has received a rather lukewarm, or in some cases, such as GameSpot, incredibly damning reception. Which begs the question, what did the remaster of the SpongeBob game get wrong? This made me hesitant to actually buy the game until I checked the comments section and the like to dislike ratio of the respective reviews. Because it really made me wonder, have they messed this up? Is the frame rate really crooked? Is there cut content? Is this remaster less than the original game was? And the answer is no. It is the exact same game at a much higher graphical fidelity, now bursting with color, with the addition of a multiplayer mode. Absolutely nothing is lost here. Now, there's a lot of different schools of thought that you can approach reviews with. The original SpongeBob game was reviewed pretty highly back in its day. This new one, though, definitely less of a positive reaction from professional critics. And there's a lot of different schools of thought that can be applied to this. For example, video games in many ways are an art form, and all art is subjective. For these critics, it is at the end of the day just their opinion. One of the points IGN brings up is that this game doesn't really add as much to the overall experience or improve the overall experience in the way that other remaster games have recently. So problems with the original will still persist with this version, and it won't feel like a new experience. And the game was given a mediocre rating mostly for those reasons. Now here's something I don't think these reviewers are necessarily taking into account. All SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated ever promised was a remaster of Battle for Bikini Bottom. That is exactly what this game is. That is the context and the standards set by this game. Another thing that I do not feel is factored into this is the price of the game out of the gate is not full price. This is not a AAA experience, nor is it trying to tell you it's a AAA experience. So is it really fair to review a straight remaster that promises nothing else to other remasters that have been more updated and cost more than this one? Would it not be worth taking the context of this game in while reviewing it, so that you can leave your own personal expectations at the door when playing this experience? Another school of thought that you could really consider is that the horizons of this thing have changed forever. We're getting video games that feel like you're actually stepping into that world and feeling like that character, with these rich graphical textures, unforgettable storylines, and absolutely thrilling gameplay. So for example, the person assigned to review SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated could be the person that gave God of War PS4 a 10 out of 10. And to be fair, I'd agree with them there. What a great game. But because they like that standard of game, they're not going to have the best time with SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, so their experience with this game might not necessarily be a good one. It might not be something that they enjoyed. But let's move over to the question, why do professional reviews exist? Why do we have professional critics to do this? Professional critics are supposed to give potential customers an impression of what kind of quality to expect from this game, which can help a prospective customer decide whether or not they're going to go ahead and fork out the £24. But the thing is, I don't think it's necessarily enough for a professional paid critic who's supposed to be a reliable source of what kind of quality the game is, to just give their opinion that they had a bad experience in a very matter-of-fact way. Which a lot of these reviews very much come across as very matter-of-fact. This is a mediocre game, it's not very good. But I feel like any professional critic worth their salt should be able to put their own personal feelings and experience aside and look at the game from a quality standpoint, factoring in the price, factoring in whether or not the game delivers on its promise. Now, I'm not saying that critics have to be like robotic about this or anything. I'm not saying critics have to give this a 100 out of 10 score. What I'm saying is, for example, maybe rather than making the criticism, oh, this doesn't expand upon the original in the way that other remasters do, into a detraction, into an actual criticism of the game, maybe they should instead note, if you are expecting expansion upon the original, that's not in this game. Just as a little heads up, because it's not the game's fault that a critic expected more than the game ever promised. And it's not a game's fault that the critic is a huge fan of God of War and doesn't like this kind of game. Because SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom is a collectathon platformer that collectathon platformer fans are gonna love. It is among the best of them. So maybe these video game journalism companies should assign someone that likes platforming games to review this title as opposed to someone who's a massive fan of The Last of Us 2. On the other hand, maybe a professional critic, someone who is paid to have a reliable viewpoint, should be able to review a game for what it is, within its own set of standards and its own context. I'm not saying that the reviewer cannot say, oh, I didn't like the game, I didn't have the best time with this isn't really my kind of thing, I think this could have been done better. Like, I still have criticisms of this game myself. It's definitely not perfect. All I'm saying is I feel like a professional critic should be reliable, should be able to review things based on quality and based on whether or not they deliver on the premise, as opposed to, I wanted this, I wanted that, this game didn't do any of that, even though it never promised that in the first place. Even though it just isn't that kind of game. And I think in that regard, video game journalism is really letting everybody down. It's one thing to review something with a bias. It's fine, it happens. You go on YouTube, you're gonna get people giving their completely unfiltered, impassioned opinions on everything all the time. But when it comes to a paid professional, I really would expect better. I guess I would advise tweeting this to a number of different video game journalism websites, not the individual critics themselves, because, you know, you don't want to harass individuals here, but tweet it to the websites. Because SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated is only one example of this. I understand that being a critic is kind of a difficult balancing act between remaining kind of objective to a degree and being subjective, but all I'm seeing here is 100% subjectivity. I didn't have a good time with this game because I don't like the kind of game it is, therefore it's mediocre. Yeah, fine. But why are you a professional? What makes you a professional in that case? Anybody can do that, so why are you getting paid for it? What do you think, guys? Comment below and discuss, and as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, why don't you head over to channelpup.net, where you can visit our blog page, Dr. Blogtopus, but you can also buy merch, such as the official Channel Pup replica hoodie. And I mean, if you insist here, guys, maybe hit subscribe, maybe hit the like button, and in the description below are the links to my social media handles, including the Patreon, where your contribution can help me run this channel, and really keep it alive. That aside, I am really grateful that you checked out this video today. Thank you so much for watching, fellow home dog. See you on another video.